A flooded home or business is never easy to deal with. The memories that are lost that you cannot replace. An aquadam can be another tool in your arsenal to protect your home or business from the hurricane storm surge or the king tides. Look us up online at aquadam.net or give Aquadam a call at 707-764-2119. We can help.
Consider advertising on the Opperman Report. We have excellent advertising rates for you. The advertising rates are very affordable. Once your ad goes up and we play the show on the podcast and on the YouTube channel, those ads stay up there forever. And then we play repeats every single night of classic Opperman Report shows. And your new ads will be inserted into those repeats that play every single night. So the saturation is incredible, and the rates are very affordable. Contact me at oppermanreport@gmail.com. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com, or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Contact KMD Law. Emailrevealer.com. Go to emailrevealer.com. We handle adoption investigations, infidelity investigations, email tracing, locate or identify somebody from as little as an anonymous email address. Someone owe you money? Back child support? We can find that deadbeat and even assist you in obtaining a judgment and recover that judgment for you. Emailrevealer.com. Digital forensics, computer forensics, cell phone forensics, recover deleted text messages. Create a report that you can use in court. Emailrevealer.com, 800-572-9762. Hey guys, if you like the show and you want to show your support, check out the Opperman Report Patreon. We have all the shows that you hear Monday through Friday on AM/FM radio, but we cut out the ads, so you can hear that content ad-free. The Opperman Report Patreon, you should stop there once a day and check out what's going on over there. That's Opperman Report Patreon.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. You could find me, want to get a hold of me at Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting. You can email me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. If you like our show, be sure and check out our Patreon. Oh, you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Opperman Report. And on TikTok, you can find us on, it's Ed Opperman, but also, too, there's an Opperman Report one there, too, that I own as well. Plan to be putting up a lot of the old shows, a lot of content, little clips, and sneak previews on TikTok and the Instagram Reels, so keep an eye out for that stuff. Got a live show every Friday night, 8 p.m. This is the live show. Today is February 3rd, 2023. February already, Jesus. What is going on here? And, of course, check out our Patreon. If you go to Patreon right now, there's I should have it pulled up, but I didn't. But I got a hold of those letters that the Hunter Biden's lawyer sent out to the Department of Justice and to the prosecutor in Maryland, and also, to the board, the bodying agency that regulates 5013Cs. So check that out, too, because it's been a very, very busy week. I got 3 of my cases on the news right now. And if you think that's fun, it's not. It's really not. You know? It's really not, man. Trust me. It's more work than you'd believe. So let's see. Coming up this week, I got a bunch of great stuff. Casey Gain Magala comes back to talk about this Anna Walsh in D.C., who, she's missing, and her husband was searching on the internet for all these strange phrases. It turns out the hotel she works for is the same hotel where those Pakistani double agent type guys were bribing the U.S. Secret Service, and they were using that hotel as some kind of a headquarters as well. So Casey Gain breaks that all down for us. I still kind of think the guy's guilty. Casey knew this guy back in high school or something like that, and he doesn't think he's guilty. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Okay, coming up, too, is this wonderful woman from Las Vegas, Ambra Marie. And we taped with her, and she's written this book. It's called Unifying the Whole, and you can find it on her Etsy channel, Etsy page, called Human Soul, Huemansol. Beautiful woman, such a great, positive, shining attitude, and I had no idea how smart she was. I've been in many, many political meetings with this woman, and just never noticed her. She's brilliant. She got a little bit of everything going on. Science and yoga and, chakras and all kind of stuff. A little bit of everything there. Okay, let's see what else. A lot of good content coming up for you. The trial of Walter O'Grad. Now, this guest was great. We got along great. He's an old New York guy just like me. He does volunteer work for the Innocence Project, and he got this guy out of prison, man. He was in there on death row. I think I was on a spectrum. Great work he's doing there. Adam Sheets about the TWA 800 flight and mess going on over there. And our friend, the DEA agent who ran the French Connection operation, comes back to talk about Operation Southern Comfort. And interesting, once again, he denies any CIA involvement with drug smuggling. And one of these smugglers who he busted, the guy's his actual defense was he was working for the CIA, and the CIA had busted him out of prison, his previous prison escape. I got to tell you, anytime I see a prison escape, I'm very suspicious. I don't think people are tunneling and digging out of prison. I think there's always inside help and cooperation. And this guy claimed that the CIA helped break him out of that, so I kind of believe him. Let's see. I think that's about it. For the upcoming shows. I was supposed to tape today, but I thought today was Thursday, so I missed a very important interview opportunity that I had. So I apologize for that. I've been a very busy week. I went to this thing. I saw it I'm a member of the Dali Museum, okay, over there in St. Petersburg, Florida. It's not too far from where I live, so I can head over there. And it's, they got all kinds of events there, there's fashion shows and there's poetry readings and all kind of stuff. And they have this thing called Coffee with a Curator. And so I get the notice about it, and I'm trying to find somebody to go with me. Because what was this? How was it described here? It was described as, there we go. I don't want to do what I did last week. Reverend Robert Keffer will present the miraculous and sometimes bizarre experiences recorded in the lives of Roman Catholic saints. And there's all kinds of these stories I've never heard before, like this one group of, they went into a cave, and they were in there for like 200 years, and they came out later alive. A lot of stuff, man. And this incredible story of these brutal tortures that they used to do back in those days. So I saw this. I says, okay, fine, let me get a couple of tickets. We'll go down there. And when I went to go get the tickets, I couldn't. It was sold out. So I says, darn, I really want to watch this, and I want to interview this Reverend Robert Keffer. So I wrote a little note, email to the director over there at the Dali, and I says, hey, can you sneak me in? I want to get an interview. And so they let me in. They let me. There was a ticket waiting for me down at the front office there. So I really want to thank them for that. And I'm trying to track down this Robert Keffer and get an interview with him. So far, no big luck as far as that goes. Hey, okay. Just out of curiosity, okay? Just out of curiosity, what is our military defense budget in the United States of America? Is it $800 billion a year? And somehow, somewhere, there are 2 Chinese spy balloons just drifting up in our airspace above our skies. In that $800 billion, they don't have something like let's say like a dart gun, to just pop that balloon, or something that could, all this stuff. about, oh, and well, we don't want to shoot the balloon because it's falling on somebody's head. Okay, fine. But don't we have something that can nudge this balloon along and force it to, maybe attach some weights to it somehow? This is always very bizarre to me that we can't handle this balloon situation. With all the billions, $800 billion a year, and we don't have a tool to take down a balloon. Okay? Stop and think about that one. Someone tell them that it's $1 trillion. I looked it up in 2023. I thought it said $800 billion. It says the fiscal year 2023 Department of Defense Appropriations Act provides $797.7 billion in discretionary spending, an increase of $70 billion above fiscal 2022. Those are the numbers I got from Googling. Okay, and that's the best way to find things out. You Google them. Oh, boy. What a week. Oh, one thing, too. For the whole past year, before we get into the show tonight's going to be about Stormy Daniels, Hunter Biden, and Matt Gaetz, okay? 3 things I'm working on. Now, for the past year, okay, I've been warning you about this situation, and I've been warning you so much so that I actually played the clip from The Godfather where Don Corleone, he apologized, and I apologize for repeating myself over and over about this Bazzini meeting, but that's where they're going to kill you. This Bazzini meeting, I repeat myself. And I actually played that clip because I was talking about this almost every week for a few months. And for people that are listening on the radio, because we're playing these Friday night shows, now we're playing them on AM radio too now, where previously we didn't. Yeah. So, I've been warning about this situation that I've seen with these so-called researchers and podcasters who develop these artificially large Twitter followers, and all their information that they get is from Googling. They really have no first-hand experience. They really have no first-hand sources. It's all research and they're gathering information through Google that is placed there for people to find. And then we say, oh, boy, this guy seems like a trusted guy. He's got 10,000 followers, but he's getting his information from the people he's reporting about. And I've been warning about this. And without even realizing, subconsciously, I said, there's something going on here. There's something weird here. And then here we had this situation the past couple of weeks where I was just pounced with an avalanche of spam and bots and trolls going down all over me, man. Now, I know there's still a few people out there saying, hey, Ed, it's a misunderstanding, all that kind of stuff. Trust me, enough people have come to me that recognize exactly what happened and know the characters behind this. It's happened to anybody else, by the way, who's ever talked about this guy, Victor Schoenberger, about the whole cicada, 311, whatever that is. They've all experienced the exact same thing. And every one of those people have come back to me and said, Ed, this same exact thing happened to us. So there's a lot going on here, and it's impossible at this point to try and explain. I've thought about doing maybe a Rumble video with all the chain of events and all the screenshots and stuff like that, the private messages. But it's not something that, I can deal with. And my larger audience has no idea what I'm talking about right now. So it's a weird thing. I don't know how I'm going to handle it. But trust me, we'll take care of it. Okay. Let's see. Which is the first one I want to get into? Stormy Daniels, Matt Gaetz, or Hunter Biden? Let's do the Hunter Biden one, okay? Because behind the scenes, we've been working on these Hunter Biden reels and clips, okay, going back. And then one fellow who's been helping me out, he says, hey, I said, I'll send you all the Hunter Biden stuff, and I want you to edit it down so that the story makes sense, okay, from the different sources, from the different interviews, from the solo shows, from when I've been interviewed about it. You'd be shocked how many people will say to you, Ed, how come you never talk about Hunter Biden and the big guy? How come you never say anything about Biden? How come you never talk about the laptop, Ed? I get that freaking email constantly. I'll probably get one tomorrow. Right? 8 hours. 8 hours of content I sent to this guy that I have done about Hunter Biden's laptop. Okay? And a lot of it is firsthand exclusive interviews with people involved who actually touched the laptop. Okay, they've been in the same room with the laptop. And that's not enough. Okay? So here we are with working on this stuff, and we're trying to figure out how to, get into a certain order and stuff like that. And, a couple of things he had left out that I said, no, we got to put this in there. It's very important. So, and what happens out of the blue? Hunter Biden's attorney changes the whole course of reaction of how they're dealing with this laptop story. All along, they've even been denying it was even his material that's coming out from this laptop for quite a bit of time. So then just the other day, he came out with these 3 letters that he sent. Let me pull up those letters. Couldn't hurt, right? Let's see exactly who they're from. Oh, boy, I'm so hungry, man. I'm going to make some burritos when I get off of this here. Oh, I got 4 letters here. That's interesting. Oh, one is to Assistant Attorney General for National Security. Okay, so this is in Washington, D.C. That's federal. Okay, and he's complaining about all these same people. John Paul Mac Isaac. Okay. By the way, I have this guy's phone number. He won't come on the show. But he went on the show of an obscure host on a morning show on one of my stations. That the guy never gets a good guest, So it makes me kind of wonder what's going on there. But John Mac Isaacs, and remember I played that press conference, that impromptu press conference. It was all wild. Everybody screaming back and forth at each other. It was hidden recording. It wasn't supposed to be recorded. Robert J. Costello. I think I'm the only one talking about Hunter Biden who mentions Robert Costello, who's Rudy Giuliani's attorney, who seems to have been spearheading this whole deal. See, the story that's out there is that Hunter Biden dropped off his laptop at Mr. John Mark Isaac's computer repair place in Maryland and forgot all about it. And then right away, Isaacs went in there and pulled a sort of bunch of stuff and contacted through his uncle or something like that. He provided copies to his uncle and to his father, and somehow Robert Costello got involved in all this. And that's how the laptop went to the New York Post, went to Rudy Giuliani, got to Steve Bannon, that way. The story I have from the people directly involved, which is Berge, Birkenfeld, John Kirikawa, all of them say that the laptop was at Keith Ablow's house, okay? The laptop was at Keith Ablow's house. They went there to negotiate to buy the laptop from Keith Ablow. He wanted $2 to $3 million, okay? Because I refreshed my memory. I went back and listened to all this stuff now, all this stuff. It was Bo Dietl and Birkenfeld went there to negotiate. Negotiations fell through. They did not turn over the laptop. The next day, the DEA shows up and raids that house. Now, I am the private investigator that got Keith Ablow's license pulled. Okay, we had litigation previous to all this. That, by the way, synced up with the whole Stormy Daniels story when it first came out. Because the lawyer we wanted to use was too busy with Stormy Daniels. Okay, that nightmare. Okay, so I can make the case, okay, that were it not for me pulling Keith Ablow's license, that the cops wouldn't have got this search warrant against Keith Ablow if he wasn't a disgraced license pulled physician there, if he still had his old clout and his credibility. Okay? So, and even Birkenfeld says on this, that guy Isaacs, he has nothing to do with this, man. The laptop was the one at Ablow's house, and Isaacs got a copy of that one. Okay? And Berge talks about this too. Patrick Berge, my guest that was on this show, he talks about how he was in Rudy Giuliani's apartment, and he was asked to authenticate the laptop. Now, I'm not sure if it was off the air or what, but my understanding is that they were asking him to break into certain passcodes. And that's why we see the laptop material coming out in dribs and drabs. It didn't all come out at once, because there were areas that were password protected with the data on there. So these are my guys, man. Birkenfeld, Berge, and Kirikawa, the former CIA agent. But the ones these attorneys are going after are Steve Bannon, Garrett Ziegler, John McIsaac, Giuliani, Jack Maxey. I'm not sure how he fits into all this. Never heard that name before. Yakov Appelbaum is another fellow here. So what's killing me here, though, because when Hunter Biden's other attorney, the entertainment lawyer that paid all his taxes, when he came out with his version of events, what happened, he repeated word for word my version of the Hunter Biden laptop events. And now here we go. We got some further. I can only think that there's going to be further information coming out, and it's going to be going after this whole Abloh crew. The only thing that maybe not, because you got to remember, if Keith Abloh thought that there was $3 million worth of dirt on that computer, okay, that doesn't mean that it's all been released. Some of it could be held back for blackmail purposes that is preventing people from going forward and going after these other names that I'm mentioning here. Also, too, the issue could be this judge who wrote the warrant could be a powerful enough judge that they don't want to piss him off and expose him as, it was in the bag, man, to sign a warrant. And then somehow that laptop gets back in the hands of these guys. It's not the most kosher operation in the world. So that could be it. There's something being covered up about, but I got these guys on tape saying this. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens with all this. Who knows? Maybe one day I won't have it on tape saying this. Maybe one day I'll be just as quiet about it, too, as the rest of the bunch here. Okay, since I have $3 million floating around. Okay, let's go over here. Now, so all that's going on. Hunter Biden laptop, right? We just coincidentally happen to be getting all this data together as this thing comes back into the news. It kind of puts a lot of egg on people's faces, too, man, like these 51 intelligence operative, former intelligence community guys who said it was a hoax and it was a fake laptop. And Twitter, the whole Twitter files and all that kind of stuff, deleting all these laptop information. So there's a lot more going on here than just a laptop from hell, a laptop from hell. There's a lot more going on here. Okay. Chinese balloon. I can't believe I have to talk about a Chinese balloon. Stormy Daniels is back in the news because the reason for this is SDNY is the one who prosecuted Michael Cohen. And Michael Cohen did time, okay, for the same exact deal. Trump sleeps with a porn star. Porn star says, hey, I'm going to talk about this unless I get paid. They pay her off $130,000. She keeps quiet. Then she goes back to Gina Rodriguez, who finds Keith Avenatti, and he's, I'll get you more money. And then when he winds up ripping her off, he steals all the money from her book. He totally blows the case, and she has to give back the $130,000. Okay, which, by the way, too, she didn't get all of that. I don't know how that worked. But, really, the poor woman was destroyed. And they were warned about this. They, said, look, you can't do that. We can't go back looking for more money. We made a deal. But they tried to do it anyway. Okay. Now, the New York City grand jury to see evidence in Stormy Daniels' hush money case. Okay. And by the way, Trump kind of acknowledges the affair now. On his Truth Social, he says, Trump said the Stormy nonsense happened a long time ago. Okay. Long past the very publicly known and accepted deadline of the statute of limitations. Well, that's not exactly how that works, Mr. Trump. Okay, the former president added that he placed full reliance on his counsel at the time, Michael Cohen. Okay. Now, here's the thing with that. Michael Cohen did time for this already. The feds, SDNY, are the ones who prosecuted Michael Cohen. They could have gone after Trump, but they decided not to. We're not going to go do it. I forget what the word they used was, but out of deference or something like that. And but all the witnesses that are coming before this state prosecution are the same exact witnesses in the other case. So the case has already been made, and the case has been won, and now it's going after Trump. So good luck there. I told you about this before. It's just it's an open and shut case. The money the money went there. It was then written off as legal fees rather than an expensive. I guess I don't know what you would call it. It's certainly not a legal fee. And if the motivation was to protect himself in his campaign, that's a felony. It can be dropped down to a misdemeanor if he can say that the motivation was, hey, I didn't want my wife to know about the affair. Okay. I don't know, man. Good luck, Mr. Trump. I tell you, it is, man. You hate to see a guy, caught with his pants down. But what more can you say? That's exactly what happened. Okay. Yes, I think that there is only one laptop. The laptop that was obtained from Keith Abloh's house. Now, in the news, they say the first laptop was found at the Maryland computer place, And then they'll say that, and there was a second laptop, okay? And that second laptop, so we know that laptop exists, okay? And Hunter Biden, his attorneys were able to get that laptop back in the search warrant, okay, and return it back to him. But by then it had already been copied. This is my theory, okay? A lot of this is theory, but it's from talking to the people there, bragging about it. And there's a portion, too, where I'm talking to one of the guests, and, I get some information, and I practically laugh. I burst out laughing, okay, when I get this confession of this guy. So unprofessional, man, but I didn't even notice. He didn't even notice. But the other thing, too, is to keep in mind, too, is Patrick Berge says, that when he was at Giuliani's house evaluating and examining the laptop, that the next day, or shortly after that, the FBI raided Rudy's place and took all of his electronics, but left the laptop. So there's something about this. It's like the magic kryptonite laptop. It's impenetrable, But I don't know. There's something going on here. Okay, there's something going on here. And you know what? Maybe if we can use that laptop to take down these Chinese balloons. That's what I think we should do. We should start throwing the laptops. They get Hunter Biden to throw all of his laptops at the balloons. We got nowhere else. Okay. This next story is just as good. Okay. This next story is just as good, and I'm up to my neck in this one, too. Probably the most out of all of these. Okay, I hope I don't get in trouble for talking about this. Did I just mess that up? I think when I copied and pasted some of these things, yeah, I did. Okay. There's this woman, Rebecca Jones. I don't know if you know who she is. She's down here in Florida. And she managed the team that created the Florida Department of Health's COVID dashboard. Okay? And then she was fired from her position in May of 2020. Which she said was her refusal to misrepresent the COVID-19 data. That DeSantis wanted her to lie and say the numbers were much, much lower than they actually were. Okay? Now, I kind of believe that's true. Okay? Because there was all kind of weird stuff where some days the numbers would be weird. And also, too, it just seems like a lot of people people you would see, at work all the time, at the supermarket, drive-through, and then suddenly you didn't see those people anymore. And I know that from my father's friendship with the people at the nursing home, like 90% of the people in there died. So I get a feeling the numbers were a lot higher than they've led us to believe, a lot more deaths than we thought. I know there's people out there think the whole thing's a hoax. Nobody got sick. I never got sick. I think, well, who cares? We're getting off track. Rebecca Jones, that's her background. I've done a couple of shows on her before because there's been a lot of political revenge taken upon this woman. She had some bizarre little beef with her baby's custody, kind of child support beef, and she was posting things on the internet and contacting his relatives and stuff. It was minor stuff, we're not even close to what I'm going through right now. And she was arrested for that. It's almost impossible to get somebody arrested for that. So it was political. I mean, in my estimation, there was political pressure put on to arrest her in that case. That case was dismissed immediately. No DA is going to go after a case like that. Then secondly, her home was raided because from home, apparently she had accessed the old database that she was, used to be in charge of, the official, and somehow she posted the info, who knows what. But then they raided her house, like a SWAT team goes in and raids. She has video of it that they posted. It was a big thing at the time. And through some kind of an agreement, I think she pled guilty to that, and they came up with some agreement. So then more recently, she ran against Matt Gaetz, for House of Representatives here in Florida. And right away I says, hey, let's get an interview. Like, but I've tried to interview this woman 100 times, and really no acknowledgement. And there were two groups then here about to stop Gaetz, and I would contact them both, and they'd say, we'll get right back to you, man. Someone's going to contact you. We want to do the interview. And then nothing. Okay. Now, of course, if I'll forget. I don't know. There's very few of these things that I really, really pursue all the time. I got a couple of great guests right now that I'm just dropping a ball. I'm just not getting around to getting back to them. But she posts all this stuff. Let's go start from today and go backwards. Okay, on February 2nd, she writes, consider that these are all things that are already known about Matt Gaetz before we dive into the new things next week. Dozens of traffic citations, in as many counties without consequences. A DUI arrest resulting in the arresting officer's forced resignation. Abusing the panic firing veteran staff. An unrelated teenage boy living in his house. I don't know if you guys know this story, but one day, Matt declares that he adopted a boy, and he turns into he's the brother of some ex-girlfriend of hers who had two living parents. So you adopting people out from under their own parents. So the reason why I'm focusing on Matt Gaetz so much is because I got word. There's a listener to the show here who's working on a big article. It's his story, so I can't tell you what I know and what he's going to report in the future. I did help him out. I put him together with a tabloid guy, and now they're both chasing these stories down. By the way, the tabloids had no idea about this whole teenage boy story with Matt Gaetz. When I told them, and it was a big deal at the highest level. When I told him, man, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, yeah, I took this kid. So now all this is being looked into by professionals. Okay. An unrelated teenage boy living in his home. A sister-in-law describing Gaetz as an ephebophile, okay, which I looked that up. I didn't look up how to pronounce it, though. Claiming he pushed her to have sex with his older friends. Okay, an ephebophile appears to be someone who has an interest in teenagers. Okay, not underage still, but up until 19 years old. Dubious cyber currency schemes. He is involved with all this kind of Bitcoin stuff, right? And he's super involved with the marijuana lobbying. He helped get DeSantis elected, and at DeSantis' first press conference, present there with Gaetz was the marijuana lobbyist here. And so now here in Florida, they only have medical marijuana. They don't have legal rec marijuana. Although, somehow, they got a couple of stores here that are selling rec marijuana. I won't go into too much detail, but they're doing it. And I'm going to interview them. I'm going to have an interview with them. They might even become a sponsor. So besides the dubious cyber currency schemes, that's her quote. I'm adding in there the marijuana stuff. An ongoing child sex trafficking investigation. We all know about that. Okay. A near brawl on the House floor, alleged drunkenness during rounds of voting, and an ominous threat from a colleague live on television. And that's not even all the known problems. Fellas, if you're going to be a womanizing, manizing, creepy, pedo vibe cretins, don't treat your hair and makeup people like bleep. They talk. And I mean they talk. Okay, so now you got to understand. She ran against Matt Gaetz. Okay? So when you're running, you get a lot of rumors come in about the opponent. Okay, now so you do your own oppo research, right? And I actually saw the opposition research report on Gaetz, and it's very thin. I was really shocked to see how thin it was. But you get these rumors and these gossips and these stories come in, and a lot of times people say, listen, I'll tell you about this, but you can't repeat it. Or their campaigns make deals. People wonder with this George Santos, how he got away with all this. Okay? Campaigns make deals. You don't talk about me in this area cheating on my wife, and I won't talk about you cheating on your wife. Okay? They make deals like that. There's negotiations. You won't talk about my financial misbehaviors. I won't talk about yours. Especially since, we're swimming in the same pool here, getting paid off by the same guys. So there's all of that. That's probably what happened in the Santos campaign, okay? And this could be what happened here, too, because I've seen it happen. Now, also, too, it's very interesting with Santos especially, because your own campaign will hire me to do an investigation on the candidate to see if there's any dirt's going to come out of their background. I'll have a talk with the candidate first. Well, where do you think the trouble's going to come from? And usually they're very good. I had one where the candidate then wanted me to look up a past romantic Can you find this password? I think we'll bill it to the campaign. No, I don't think we're going to do that. Okay. Oh my God. Every single one of them personally. Now she's talking about the people every single one of them personally observed proof of sex trafficking. Now this is. Oh, wait a second. This is January 31st now. Okay, and I think. Yeah, I did it backwards. Okay, her first post was. I've spoken to 13 current and former Matt Gaetz staffers, 3 close friends, a relative, 2 ex-lovers, a bartender from his favorite bar, 2 former stylists, a desk clerk at a hotel he frequents, and 2 things stand out with every one of those accusations. 1. Every single one of them personally observed proof of sex trafficking, illicit drug use, underage drinking, partying, affairs, and or financial crimes. Out of 23 sources with this information, only one says the Department of Justice. Who is this? DOJPH. Department of Justice. I should look that up. Interviewed them or even reached out about his crimes. And I got to tell you something. You know, that's another weird thing. Okay, because, you know, in other cases where I know that the Department of Justice is looking, and then there's things they just never asked about. Like in the, they didn't ask anybody about the Katie Doe lawsuit against Trump and Epstein. During that, all the whole Mueller thing, nobody was asked about that. Nobody was brought in to talk about that. So some things they don't investigate, you know. The first people they should have reached out to were his schedulers. One staffer told me. Of the 3 this source worked with, not one was contacted by the Department of Justice. Another staffer initially thought I was reaching out on behalf of law enforcement because she said she had been waiting. Well, I got to tell you, it's not as easy as she's trying to make it sound, that everyone's just jumping through hoops and wanted to confess and rat out Gaetz. From my understanding, is people are terrified for their life and holding on to things as life insurance in this situation. I'm a little nervous. I'll be honest with you. With this thing, I'm a little nervous. There was I could have made a bad decision in all this, but you know, God's looking out for me. I tweeted last week about a free condo Matt Gaetz was allegedly getting from a donor. When the office's accountant raised alarms about the donor Gaetz' unreported perks following the tweet, the donor he spilled the beans on had him fired from his accounting firm. Initially, I didn't want to report on Gaetz' affairs with young men and women, what consenting adults do in their own business, but not all were legal adults, as is already widely known. Many were paid. Gaetz responded to this saying it's not illegal to be generous to lovers. But Gaetz, by the way, too, I'm hearing something big about Cawthorn's coming out next week, too. But Gaetz' sexual preferences come into play in another story I've been aware of for years. I didn't touch the rumors when I was running for Congress because my campaign was bigger than Gaetz and no one was willing to go on the record. Now they are. And yes, it goes back to 2002. I'm handing that story off to a reporter more equipped to tell it. I also been working with reporters at the Daily Beast and Yahoo News and others to investigate financial campaign crimes. Those are in the works right now. As soon as I started exposing a fraction of what we've gathered about Matt Gaetz, he started panic firing his staff. Most of these people spoke on a condition of strict anonymity. One even fears for his safety. 2 are looking for buy-offs, and each has their own agenda. That's so true. Okay. My job is to look beyond the agenda. Root the stories. Her job should be going after this Chinese balloon. My job is to look beyond the agenda. Root the stories in the indisputable facts, photos, texts, emails, schedules, etc., and publish only what can be reasonably be true across all of the sources I've spoken to. I also have to meet with my FBI contacts this week, so please be patient. Okay. Now that's a pretty long thread on January 31st, right? Now, what is it? What is it that prompted all that? The barrage of, let me show you all the evidence I got. And let me just dump it out there. Because I'm handing some of this over to a reporter, and I've been dealing with these other two reporters. Earlier that day, I had contacted someone who was very close to Rebecca Jones, and I tried to make an introduction with these reporters, and that was her response. Okay, that was her response. Okay, off into the wee hours of the night. It's kind of, I still want to get her on, okay, so hopefully she's not listening to the show. But then later on in the night, she's talking about that some ex-boyfriend or something has some pictures of her, and he posted them up on her OnlyFans. And she's talking about, too, about these bot farms going after her, too, as well, which seems to be more and more just the way these things are going these days down these roads. So that's the whole story on Rebecca Jones. Hopefully we'll get her on the show. Hopefully this will shake up some information about Matt Gaetz. By the way, if you're out there, and you have any information, contact me. I'll put you in touch with the right people. We'll get that going. Now, last week, man, we had that horrible Tyree Nichol snuff film played 24 times. And then the other thing was the Paul Pelosi getting whacked in the head with that bat. It was just so traumatizing, man. It really threw me off my game. So I really got to apologize for last week, man. It's such an important story, and I've been contacted by people in Vegas who, want to tell the story. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I don't know. Now, I got to tell you something. In the past 48 hours, last week I told you I was all upset about that young lady in Tennessee there, 26 years old with 3 kids facing 20 years in prison. Oh, yeah, meth, This week here, in the past 24 hours, my daughter's best friend, when she was little, she has a baby now. She hasn't seen her baby in 6 months because, just the lack of knowledge on the legal system, and help, like a father who, taught her anything in life, And so last night her boyfriend kicks her out on the street. In the middle of the night, nothing. She's got nothing, not even a phone charger. And she's out there begging for help. Just incredible, how much. And everybody comes to me when they get in trouble. You have no idea. Everybody comes to me when they get in trouble. And it's really more than I can handle. I'm exhausted as it is, So there's that. And then the young lady I told you about last week who was a Bernie girl and then had the seizures and the brain tumor. Same exact thing, man. She broke up with her husband, and she's living in a motel now with no place to go, and just the incredible, the tragedy I see all around me every freaking day. Then another person on the show here who I've talked about many, many times. When I've told stories on the show, someone close to the show, you'd know who I'm talking about. And she has this horrible living condition situation. And I was on the phone with her today for like 2 hours, I wish there was some kind of services or support for people when he's going through these crises. But really, there isn't. There really isn't. Oh, boy. Feeling for you. Thank you. Yeah. Feeling for me is right, man. Feeling for me. I'm exhausted. You have no idea. I had an interview with this guy today. His name is Phelps. But I got the wrong day, And it's kind of a good thing that I did because today was just such a distracting day. I couldn't get everything all together. And his book is called Not Exactly the CIA by this guy, Roger Phelps. And I've heard good things about the book. It's another trying day book. So we'll see what comes out of this interview here. A revised history of modern American disasters. That's another thing, too. I'm really going to back away from some of the more extreme people and some of the more extreme guests and extreme topics. And no more of this stuff about letting people come on the air and not using their real name. Never again. Yeah, everyone's got to use your real name from now on. Otherwise, I'm not giving you a platform. And I think maybe no more podcasters either. Just people that are directly involved in the story, or an author, or someone a little bit more seasoned. You know, this idea of me giving first breaks to all these people and just having to bite me in the ass, I see no benefit in that anymore, and I really don't. So now, hopefully, the stations because we're just starting to send out these Friday shows, which are far more intimate, and usually would go to a much smaller audience. So hopefully, the stations, they've known me for long enough now that they're interested in this kind of content, and some of the behind the scenes stuff I could tell you about. Things, you know, cases I'm working on and stuff. Hopefully. So we'll see. We'll see. You know? All those crypto guys up there, they're hacked in gifts and grifts. Yeah, definitely. I agree with you there. Let's see. What else? Well, Rebecca. Messages. Okay. Once again, I got nothing left. Maybe I'll tape something later and add it to the show and can put it out. So what I'll do is I'll go up to the next shows here. I'm going to play Adam Sheets, and then I'm going to play Amber Marie. I do encourage him. Adam Sheets has good information on TW800. The guy's obsessed with the case. And we also talk, too, on that show about this bizarre guy. Because, you know, my best man at my wedding was there recovering the debris at TWA 800. And what happened was a guy came up in a general's uniform. I think he claimed he was with the Army Corps of Engineers. And he goes, well, if you guys are going to be landing your helicopter over here, you know, we have to build a landing pad. You know, I'm going to sign these requisitions here for what's that stuff, asphalt, you know. And they made a helipad in on the front lawn. I think it was one of the hotels where the families were staying. By the way, that whole story was very strange too, because that was the first plane crash where they put up the families in a hotel for like a month, you know, feeding them and, you know, ordering lobster, you know, all this stuff. Like a lot of bizarre stuff happened during that. You know, a reporter was arrested for picking up debris and having it analyzed. You know, looking for bombers. So a lot of stuff went on in that case. So Adam Sheets. Is it Adam Sheets or Aaron Sheets? I think it's Aaron. Oh, you know what? I might not be able to play his show because he didn't send over the description I wanted. Yeah, it's Aaron Sheets. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play Casey Gain instead. I'm going to play Casey Gain, and then I'll play Aaron Sheets next week. And then I'm going to play Amber Marie, okay? And I'm telling you, man, if you want to, I went into that interview really down, overwhelmed, cynical, and I left it with a positive attitude and very uplifted. So I would encourage everybody to listen to her. She's got a website on Etsy, and it's called Human Soul, HUEMANSOL, and her book, it's a workbook. It's called Unifying the Whole, okay? And she's also on Instagram. It had a funny name. I don't remember. Any thoughts on the... Yes. Any thoughts on the Chinese balloon? Yes. I think it's the Chinese. Okay. If I can find 4 minutes. I can't find 4 minutes. All right. What we'll do is we'll start playing the next show. I want to play Casey Gain McGowan. Okay. And then we're going to play Amber Marie. And these are both good shows. Casey Gain won because he's believes this guy's not guilty, this husband. And the husband's searching all these search terms like, you know, how long does a corpse start to stink? You know, how do you cut it? What's the best way to cut up a body? You know, like, you know, it's guys, if Casey Gain's theory is that he didn't make those searches, but I don't know, man. I don't know about that. We'll see what happens when it comes up in court. So Casey, though, man, he's convinced. The guy's not guilty. I'll tell you one quick funny story, too, what I did. I was playing a repeat this week, and I forgot to mute the microphone. So as the repeat was playing, the people I was talking to here in the house, you could hear the conversation on the tape. And then at one point, I had to make a phone call to this guy about the O.J. Simpson case. And I didn't want him having my phone number, so I used the microphone for the Skype, the Skype number. I'm talking to him. I'm talking right into the mic, over the show, out to the audience. I start getting these messages. Hey, Ed, we can hear you talking on the phone, but we can only hear your end of the conversation. So thank God my Skype is all screwed up and we can't tape both ends of the conversation, because otherwise that would have been a real problem. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and good night. And now a word from our sponsors.
Before Epstein was the Franklin cover-up. Before that, the Finders. And long before that, the Cleveland Street Scandal. Pedogate Primer is a concise intro and overview of a growing child abuse epidemic worldwide. It features shocking instances of institutionalized and organizational pedophilia throughout history. Churches, cults, the world of arts and entertainment, the government, NGOs, charities, and major corporations are all complicit or culprits in many instances. Pedogate Primer delves into material that for many may seem like the stuff of conspiracy theories. For this reason, the book draws on academic resources, declassified documents, and other reliable sources, and steers clear of conjecture. Such shocking, true stories need no embellishment.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at KMDLaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to KMDLaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119.